Howdy ho, good neighbor. It is apparent we are taking off high above Alameda, and we're heading up. Nope, not to the glass plant. We're heading to a fire. That's right. I was on my way home from work and I noticed a big plume of black smoke. And I said, I gotta stop and get the drone in the air. But when you see white smoke, well, that means there's a new pope. And that also means they're putting water on the fire. So I tried to get over there as fast as I could to see what is going on. I just passed the building underneath me. Well, the copper thieves just caught that building on fire, stealing copper. So I was wondering, what is on fire here? Was it more copper thieves stealing more copper? I don't know. It's one of those things you never know until you get there. But I could see the white smoke. So like I said, white smoke means water is extinguishing it. So as soon as I say that, more black smoke. So that means that the fire is not out. Whenever you see black smoke, there is a fire. So as I come around the corner, I notice that this high street storage, well, right next to high street storage is a homeless encampment. That's right. So just as I suspected, was a homeless fire. Now this is just speculation, and I've said this before. When the homeless people get in fights or disputes with each other, they call them burnouts. So this person could have been in a fight with his neighbor and they just burn each other out. That's how they settle disputes around here in the homeless community. Now this is all speculation, but this is what I've heard in the past, that when you are in the homeless community, well, if you don't like your neighbor, you just set their house on fire. So is that what happened here? I don't know. We will never know. All I know is the Oakland Fire Department always comes prepared to extinguish a fire, and they did here today, because look what was next door, some kind of recycling plant. So thankfully they got a good crew here to put out this fire. So when I raise up like that, I have to I lose my signal, so I have to get those high shots. But of course I got the zoom lens. But you can see when that fire was right next to that building, it actually caught the building on fire. So you think that the homeless are just setting themselves on fire. Nope, they're actually setting businesses on fire. We lost a long time electrical plant that the homeless were parked next to this building just like this, and the business was in business for over 100 years and it went up. So just because you have a homeless camp living on the street next to you, you can see that they can burn your business down. There is the zoom lens at work, and you can see that, yep, they had to cut a hole into that business next door to put out the fire inside the business. So there you go, one homeless RV toasted. And I guess you can call that two, because the neighboring RV looks like it caught on fire also. You can see that one's on fire. But it looks like they've pretty much got a good handle on it. But across the street was that big recycling plant, and boy, They sure wouldn't want all this to go up fire. This is all industrial. And right next to that is the 880 freeway. So it looked like traffic was making its way by pretty good on this day. So there you go. One RV that is toasted and not much left of that. And the business next door is now damaged. So you can see that they had a little encampment here that has totally been destroyed. Now you feel for those people living on the streets like that, but this is what happens when you live in these conditions. This is why they don't want these encampments. Hopefully everybody's okay and no one died, no pets or people. But you can see where this fire could have gotten out of control, especially if those next two RVs go up. Then this storage unit goes up. You can see the storage unit has already caught on fire. So hopefully the fire sprinklers did not go off inside that storage unit. And I'm probably sure they did. They go off by heat. So you can tell it gets pretty hot right next to that wall with all that fire. So I'm just curious if they had to service their fire sprinkler system after this. I don't know. But there you go. This is just one encampment out of hundreds in Oakland. And Oakland has been cleaning these camps up and they've been moving these people around. So you wonder how long these people have actually been here, because they just cleaned up that big homeless camp right across the street from Home Depot. So these could have been people that used to live at Home Depot right down the street. I wouldn't doubt it. That's what happens. I've said it before and I'll say it again. We need to give these people some kind of open field way out in the middle of nowhere so they don't affect businesses and they don't affect civilization that does not want to live in these conditions. People say that I shouldn't have to live in these conditions after paying taxes and going to work every day. What gives these guys the right to do drugs and alcohol and get the government funds to do all their illegal activities? I don't know. People should have compassion for other people. That's the problem with making these homeless videos, is people tell me to stop filming this, stop showing these people. A lot of people will just say, why don't you just stop doing drugs and get clean and sober? But I always say you would have to be doing drugs and have to be drunk to live in these conditions. Now, a lot of people are not drug addicts and a lot of people are not alcoholic in these conditions, but I do believe a lot of them have to be numb to live like this. So for all of the comments that I get about shedding light on Oakland and their homeless community, well, there is no easy way to broach this subject. You can see that this is just thousands of dollars in damage, not to mention the firefighters and all the wasted tax dollars. And this happens daily. The Oakland Fire Department has been putting out homeless fires more than they put out actual home fires. So it's got to be very disheartening to them to just deal with the homeless day after day. But I don't know, I could just be saying this for nothing, but I know that at some point the bottle has got to break on the homeless industrial complex. We cannot just keep funding thousands of dollars into this problem. But we still do, because people are getting rich off the homeless industrial complex. And look at, that's just one little street in Oakland, and look at the mess it made. I'd like to go by there on my way to work tomorrow morning and see the damage it does from the ground. That would be interesting. Well, there you go. One last little look at the Oakland homeless fire. Well, the fire's out. And believe it or not, it was time for me to head home and get home. Like I said, it was time to get off of work. I had worked a full day, but before I get this drone back on the ground, I'd like to show you what the glass plant looks like on this day. Now, a lot of you people have been watching this Oakland glass plant series that they've been demolishing this whole recycling glass plant. So before I end this video, I thought I would show you exactly what it looks like today. So you can see, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, and this elephant is getting eaten. Look at that. That's right. The whole east side of that big plant is gone. And there's nothing but a big hole in the ground to where it used to stand. So it looks like they're going to take down that whole metal building, and then they'll go for the smokestacks. So that'll be the one to look for, is those smokestacks. I don't know how or when, but I can't wait for those to come down. But that should be the grand finale of this place, I would imagine. So there you go. That's what the Oakland glass plant looks like today. And you can see that they still got a lot to do. So I would say it's probably a quarter of the way done now. So they still have a little bit left. Well, there you go. One homeless camp fire and one Oakland glass recycling plant update. How about that? A 2-for-1. Everybody likes to get a 2-for-1. Well, guess what? This is going to be a 3-for-1. Can you believe it? What else do I got for you? Well, not only do you get the homeless fire, and you get the Oakland recycling glass plant update, you also are going to get a sneak peek at the Alameda sunken ship removal. That's right. We still got to see that, and I don't know if I'll be able to do it. So let's go take a look, shall we? So back about a week ago on Memorial Day weekend, a big ship in Alameda sunk in the middle of the night mysteriously. So before I end this video with this nice circular view of the glass plant, recycling plant, to get that whole view of what's left and what still needs to be taken care of. And that's what still needs to be taken care of. But like I was saying, a ship sunk in Alameda in the estuary there behind the glass plant. So they don't know how they're going to get the ship out. So what they did was they erected a big crane to get the ship out. You can see it way in the background. So there it is, one top shot of the beautiful pit. One big, beautiful pit That's what I'm going to call that. You can see right where those guys crush up all that metal, that dark ground. That mister really does its job, doesn't it? You can see how wet the dirt is there, and you don't see too much dust coming out of it. All right, let's say goodbye to this guy, because all he's doing is making the ground nice and smooth. I didn't get to see any destruction on this day, so whenever you don't see any destruction, it's time to move on, move on. So let's end this video with a sneak peek at the Alameda sunken ship crane removal. That's right. Let's get out of this glass plant. They really got that ground all wet, so they're doing a great job with dust control. But these are the guys, or girls, that I want to see come down. And that piece of metal just dangling by a thread. But how will they get these smokestacks down? I don't know. Maybe if my drone runs right into them, that'll help. I better not do that. All right, this video's getting long enough. But I always want to thank you again for coming along with me on these 3-for-1 adventures. You get the homeless campfire, the glass update, and this beauty of the sunken ship of Alameda. It's just ready to get pulled out, but when, I don't know. I've been watching it, and that'll be something to see. But that's how they get a ship out of the water, with one big crane. Well, 3-for-1 adventures. You gotta love it. Well, as always, I want to thank you again for coming along with me on these 3-for-1 homeless fire adventures. Yeah, you know the drill. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz. Bye-bye, everybody.